Imagine waking up to find half the people you know gone. Streets silent. Church bells ringing endlessly. Carts pass, not with goods, but bodies. No one understands this invisible, unstoppable force. In the 14th century, Europe faced not an army, but a plague that erased millions of lives. It nearly collapsed an entire civilization. This was more than a plague. It was a turning point. Welcome to Ages Reimagined. We explore moments that reshaped our world forever. If you're drawn to forces that changed civilizations, subscribe and journey with us into the past. Tonight, we enter the darkest chapter of medieval Europe, when death itself seemed to walk the streets. By the early 1300s, Europe was already vulnerable. The Great Famine had weakened populations. Malnutrition was widespread. Communities were fragile. Sanitation in growing cities was almost non-existent. Streets were narrow, crowded. Waste flowed openly. Rats thrived in granaries and marketplaces. Trade connected Europe to Asia. Along these routes moved silk, spices, and something far more deadly. In Central Asia, a bacterium, Yersinia pestis, lived quietly among rodent populations. Fleas carried it from animal to animal. As trade expanded, so did the reach of disease. By 1347, ships arrived in Messina, Sicily, with crews already dying. Sailors staggered ashore with fever and dark swellings. Some collapsed on the docks. Authorities ordered vessels to leave, but it was too late. The disease had entered the city. From Italy, the plague spread with terrifying speed. Genoa, Venice, Florence, Marseille, Barcelona, Paris, London. It traveled along trade routes and through crowded streets, carried by fleas that jumped from rats to humans. It entered homes silently. Symptoms came suddenly. Fever burned through the body. Victims vomited and trembled. Pain tore through limbs and joints. Then came the swellings, buboes, dark, swollen lymph nodes. These gave the disease its name, bubonic plague. Black patches appeared on the skin, as blood vessels burst beneath it. In many cases, death followed within 3 to 5 days. There was no cure, no understanding. Physicians believed it was bad air or divine punishment. Some carried flowers or herbs to mask foul smells. Others wore long-beaked masks, stuffed with aromatic plants, believing they could filter corrupted air. None of it worked. As the plague spread, panic followed. Priests administered last rites until they collapsed. Doctors died alongside patients. Families locked themselves indoors. Some fled to the countryside, unknowingly carrying the disease with them. Entire villages became silent. In many towns, half the population disappeared within months. In others, even more. Historians estimate that between 30 and 50% of Europe's population died between 1347 and 1351. That may have been as many as 50 million people. Imagine London in 1349. A silent terror gripped the city, changing everything. Carts rolled at dawn, a chilling cry echoing, "Bring out your dead." Mass graves were dug outside city walls, a stark testament to the plague's devastation. Families were too weak to bury loved ones. Children were left orphaned, houses abandoned. In Florence, Boccaccio described neighbors avoiding each other, fear dissolving trust. Friends stopped visiting. Parents abandoned sick children, terrified of infection. The plague shattered daily life. weakening social bonds and the very fabric of society. Desperation led to blame. Many believed it was God's punishment for sin. Others accused minorities, leading to attacks and massacres across Europe. Yet, amid the horror, something unexpected began to take shape. As millions died, labor became scarce. Fields went untilled. Workshops stood empty. Survivors found themselves suddenly valuable. Peasants could demand higher wages. The old feudal order began to weaken, leading to unrest and rebellion. Faith was tested. Churches filled with prayer, but prayers did not halt the dying. Some turned to extreme devotion, like the flagellants, publicly whipping themselves. Others questioned long-held beliefs, challenging the authority of religious institutions. Art began to change. Images of death appeared everywhere, the danse macabre. Painters and writers confronted mortality directly. Life was no longer taken for granted. By the early 1350s, the plague subsided, but Europe had been transformed. Entire villages vanished. Forests reclaimed farmland. Wealth was redistributed. Opportunities emerged where once there had been rigid hierarchy. Some historians argue the Black Death helped lay foundations for the Renaissance. It exposed fragility beneath stone cathedrals and castle walls. And yet, humanity endured. Cities rebuilt, trade resumed, generations were born. Civilization did not collapse entirely. It adapted.